The future is not large language models, but small language models.
How do we get the tools that are relevant in the right hands at the right time?
Help customers solve these challenges and get the outcomes, what they're looking for in a simpler way.
Hello and welcome to Cisco SE Talks, where we put a lot of our largest partners in the hot seat. My name is Zane Mirza. I'm your host today. I'm really excited for this episode where we're talking to EPlus, joined by Zeki and Sudheesh. We'll do a bit of an intro. And on this one, I'm really excited because I'm going to be joined today with one of my peers, Jake, as well. So Jake, I'll throw it to you as we kind of tackle this one together.
Awesome. Thanks, Zane. I'm Jake Perakis. I am a Chicago Metro Select Cisco Solutions Engineer. I've been here for about 5 years, and I'm extremely excited to get this Cisco SE Talks for SEs by SEs kicked off with this absolutely star-studded cast. So I'll let Zeki and Sudheesh from EPlus introduce themselves as well. Zeki?
Awesome. Hi, everyone. This is Zeki Yasar. I'm a principal architect with EPlus Technology. I have over 20 years with EPlus Technology, but the last 7 or 8 years, I've been heavily focused on AI optimized infrastructure and in supporting my customers' AI initiatives.
Yeah, I'm Sudheesh. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. I'm Sudheesh, VP of Innovation and Emerging Technologies at EPlus. Lead the AI practice at EPlus. We have a consulting practice, pre-sales solutioning, post-sale services AI practice dedicated for our AI customers, and also the support services also we do have. We also have a ML research team who does more on the building solutions for use cases for customers and whatnot. Nice to meet you both.
Great. Thank you. Well, I'd like to make a disclaimer. I know this is a podcast for SEs by SEs, but for those of you that are listening, if you're not an SE or your customer, there will be valuable takeaways for you today. But what I can't promise is that it won't get too nerdy, but there will be value. So just remember that. So thank you again for the introductions. We're going to get this thing kicked off. Today's topic at hand is how we're going to be able to impact customers specifically within the finance vertical with respect to AI. So I'll go ahead and get us started with the first topic at hand. And I just want to open it up with a pretty broad question is, what are the common opportunities for customers that you guys are experiencing within the finance space with relation to AI? So I'll open that up. Zeki, you can go ahead and start.
Sure. So I think making predictions has always been important, but making predictions with higher accuracy is a great opportunity. I think simplified access to relevant information. So when somebody is looking for information, that there's some contextual awareness about their role and really what it is that they're trying to accomplish. Improve customer service. I think that's always really important. And that's an area that is a real opportunity with AI. And I also think security. So intelligent security, both in the physical and digital world, is really a great opportunity as well.
Great. Thank you for sharing, Zeki. Sudheesh, is there any color that you'd like to add there in terms of the overall opportunities that we're seeing within the finance space?
Yeah, so like what Zeki was mentioning, right? What we are seeing is around most of the customers, what you're seeing, they're trying to do fraud detection and risk analysis, basically with their number of transactions, how quickly they can detect frauds through AI, and there are various things they run through. There's another thing, around customer experience, for branch modernization use cases, like when customers are coming into a teller. Like for space management, that's another common use case what they're seeing. So it's across the board, and through AI is another opportunity what we see as well. There are a few opportunities which we are recently seeing that the customers are scaling their AI models and infrastructure demands what they are seeing, and we are seeing few opportunities to build on-prem solutions because of the cloud cost as well.
Gotcha. And that's such a great point that you guys both make. That I think the takeaway there is the finance vertical is a little bit unique in general because it spans a big spectrum of different use cases. There's not one catch-all. I know that there's been the retail topics that we've had. There's manufacturing coming up, where finance, I have customers that I cover from, payday loan services to insurance to private equity to high frequency trading. There's tons and tons of use cases and opportunities that are out there for them, which is why next discussion that we can, segue into is just talking about some specific use cases or any anecdotes that you guys have from your customers and experiences within the finance space when it comes to applying, Cisco and EPlus strategies to help them with their AI journey. So anything that you can share there as well would be helpful.
Sure. So I think of across all of the different segments of finance that you had just mentioned, machine learning isn't new. I think AI in the sense of where you're leveraging neural networks may be newish, but even with some of these traditional machine learning algorithms, a lot of what they're trying to accomplish is making predictions. And, in some cases, those predictions may be, predicting the price of an asset, 1 to 2 years out. And they're going to look at historical data to try to come to that prediction. And so a lot of that's been done with structured data. And even if you have a existing prediction system, being able to augment it with unstructured data can be a really good way of improving the accuracy on systems that you may have already put in place that are providing a ton of value already, but just improving the accuracy. So an example would be you have a missing piece of data, let's say, kind of like the age of an asset or whatnot. You can be able to figure that missing data out, utilizing another technique, and more, it could be through computer vision, where you have an actual picture of that asset, and based on the picture, a neural network can determine the age of it. Which, if that information wasn't available, now you can populate that information to be able to enrich the data sets that you're leveraging even with your more traditional prediction systems. So I think that being able to expand upon what has already been working well with machine learning by leveraging neural networks is a nice evolution and a great use case for neural networks and modern AI.
Awesome. And I think you bring up some very valuable points there in terms of the use cases. But where I wanted to touch on a little bit earlier, where you were mentioning context. So that RAG use case is going to be huge. And in my experience with customers that I've covered, specifically with the high frequency trading customers, Zeki, you shared before your experience with, the data scientists that work in that space. They have tons and tons of just data, right, that they're storing on their networks. And that is so valuable for them to use to add context to some of these AI pipelines and projects that they're creating. So one use case that I'd like to bring up that I've started to see as a big topic is probably because the finance vertical tends to lean towards, on-prem deployments. And that's mainly, incentivized by more scrutiny from the government, regulation, whether that's, cybersecurity, insurance that they have to disclose information if they're breached, PCI compliance, governance, you name it, right? That RAG use case is huge because of the nature of the data that they have on-prem. So sensitive, they'd rather keep that within their own, perimeter, but they still need the hardware to be able to, store that information and be able to access it at scale. But definitely, that's a huge use case, and that's something that we can go a little bit deeper into as well. But Sudheesh, I'd like your input as well.
Yeah, so what, data fragmentation and quality, right? Basically, all these financial institutions have data starting from for many decades, sitting in legacy mainframes, branch offices, cloud apps, and all that, right? How do you bring all that data together securely, clean it, and make it usable for AI to consume it? Is a big challenge, right? So you want to have we have solutions around building that whole data pipeline and cleansing the data, securing the data. So that's a huge practice we have, and overall data governance and security is another key area, right? So those are the things which I believe the decision makers at a financial institution who are making the decisions on bringing the use cases that keep them up at night is that how I can keep the data secure, and how I can govern that, and how we can clean it and consume it in AI is a big challenge what we have seen.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that, because I love that comment, both Zeki and you, in terms of like security and the financial use cases. One of the things that I've seen along with Jake is really based obviously on shadow AI, some of those security concerns, especially when you have a lot of AI applications that might be deployed in cloud. So what we look at is what's adding to that is just the token cost, right? When you have so much in cloud versus bringing it on-prem. So I wonder, giving you some of that context, I wonder, what are you guys seeing when customers are in cloud and bringing it back? Right? Is that a big use case as well?
Yeah, actually, we closed a deal this week, okay, where a
Congrats.
financial customer, they were scaling it in cloud, obviously, and the cost is increasing exponentially than what they were expecting, and they are actually building at 2 locations, and they are trying to bring in the data to on-prem and so we are absolutely seeing that happening today more than ever before, not just financial customers, even on other customer areas that they want to start building. Even with smaller customers, they want to start building the smaller infrastructure and then expand it, right? So to see, even to compare the cost, we have offerings which we are launching as we speak, with AI infrastructure as a service stack, which includes the entire compute network storage and the GPU as a service software as well. And we have a whole build of that. We will build that. We will support it, and we also host it in a colo provider facility where the customer can just consume it as a cloud on-prem with the cost of economics of on-prem economics, right? So it's pretty exciting times that we are seeing this pendulum swing back to on-prem because of various demands of GPUs. And the main constraint what customers are seeing is, I don't want to have the pain of building that infrastructure. The power is a big issue. I don't want to go back and look at that. I don't want to hire a bunch of engineers to do the operationalization of that infrastructure. So we're trying to, minimize that pain what customers to take and do that on their own. We take the pain of building it and supporting it while they consume it like a cloud.
Yeah, and to Jake's point, I'm glad you said that, because that's a solution or just a use case we're seeing where you have cloud, you're bringing it back on-prem. Looking at Cisco and the EPlus partnership with obviously our AI pods, our infrastructure, where we're kind of making it very turnkey, right? Where you have security, you have storage, all built on top of it, with the different use cases of things like AI defense. So I know that's kind of where we wanted to go, but it's interesting that we're seeing it, and partners like you guys that we're very well aligned with are seeing the same. So thank you for the feedback there.
Yeah. And just to reinforce that point, just wanted to talk a little bit about one more use case before we get into our next topic. Is I'm seeing that, that on-prem pendulum is gaining a lot of acceleration, right? So one use case that I wanted to bring up, I did a quick homework assignment before this, asked a few of my high frequency trading customers and private equity customers, along with some of my peers, a few questions, right? Of very general, how are you using AI in your day-to-day? And just for a little bit of background, my undergrad experience was in computer science with a focus in big data and AI at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign in their School of Engineering. So I have a lot of buddies that are quants, that are traders at these, huge companies. So one of the notes that they shared with me was, hey, Ken Griffin, the CEO of Citadel, said that agentic generative AI isn't going to help hedge funds beat markets. And the reason that I bring that up is we're not going to sell some, magic solution. These GPUs are going to help you print money, Mr. Hedge Fund, engineer. No, but what's going to help you beat other hedge funds is adopting these AI workloads and projects that are going to augment their traders to make more effective and optimal decisions. So that use case that I wanted to bring up actually, that was a common denominator across my customers and the traders and software engineers, was that they're using AI for code generation actually. So they're going to use, they're talking about Cursor, they're talking about Claude code. But where Cisco has a play is with our on-prem AI pod that you mentioned, you can plug in those APIs to their IDE of choice, like a Visual Studio Code. And the benefit of that RAG use case that we touched on earlier will allow them to have that massive repository or code base so that they can reference previous coders or engineers that has that sensitive and proprietary information. I know that's very, very niche, but that was a huge use case that was common across the board for those high frequency traders as well as a private equity use case. And it just goes to show how many, like, the possibilities are actually endless when it comes to what the hardware and our partnership with enabling these customers to adopt AI can actually do. So I just think it's very exciting. But again, that takeaway there is, customers in this finance space, due to the nature of their proprietary data, are probably going to start leaning towards on-prem conversations. So anywho, wanted to touch on the next topic and hear you guys' feedback in terms of what's stopping customers from, being able to start adopting these new plans and strategies. What are the challenges that you guys are seeing, or what's most commonly heard from you guys, Zeki and Sudheesh?
Yeah, so I mean, this is very different. If you look at just kind of like the power density of these solutions, I mean, they're extremely efficient, and they can be, 100 times faster than like a normal system that you would run in a data center, but they can consume 10 times the amount of electricity. So even though they're highly efficient, they are very demanding systems. Also, the tools and the way that they're interconnected, there's a lot of differences there as well. The fact that you have to be able to pull these resources to drive up efficiency, secure multi-tenancy is going to be very critical. So you've got a lot of change that's happening very quickly that you really have to kind of figure out how you're going to navigate it. And I think that that's, one of the reasons why a architecture like the secure AI factory that Cisco is bringing forth and EPlus is able to deliver is really an opportunity to help kind of accelerate and get around some of those challenges that are due to just how do we plan and size this? How do we secure it? How do we get the tools that are relevant in the right hands at the right time? So, all very significant challenges, but definitely, what's cool is that historically, we had to kind of figure out all that stuff out by ourselves, spend a lot of time addressing each of those individual challenges. And now it's becoming much more like a recipe, and there's really, best practices that we can follow.
Yeah, so from what Zeki mentioned, right, what we have been talking about so far, it's around, first is the data fragmentation and quality. Second is infrastructure readiness. Third topic is around security, compliance, and regulatory pressures, right? And the fourth is from a model governance and trust. Okay, so what the solution is, I mean, with Cisco, what they have built with the Cisco AI pod, it's pretty a comprehensive solution, which includes solving those challenges, what we are talking about now. With, on top of that, we can run the NVIDIA stack, and you have AI defense on top to secure that AI application as well. So you have end-to-end security applied from infrastructure stack, data security, to model governance, runtime protection for models. So you're having a whole end-to-end solution built, and including the observability layer. If you think about it, with the Splunk and Splunk ITSI, you have a AOps framework also built for monitoring and moving into a proactive way to fix issues with AI. That's another layer of intelligence. You guys have a solution built with your AI pod. It's a very comprehensive solution which we can easily take it to market, which solves all those four issues which I just mentioned, right? So.
Yeah, so this, I mean, I think you were kind of going where I want to take this conversation as well, and it's fascinating, right? With just the NVIDIA partnership, the Secure AI Factory. A lot of times you kind of think of NVIDIA and Cisco, but it's a true partnership, right? Where we're the one vendor that's part of their reference architecture, kind of unpacking security, networking, and storage, with even VAST, which is obviously the next gen storage that we talk about. But really, I think us going to market together, it's unheard of, and it's fascinating with two different companies that are pioneers in the industry coming together to identify these use cases, right? Whether it's on AI pods or whatever storage medium you might use. But again, the Secure AI Factory is really relevant in terms of just being a part of that reference architecture.
Exactly. And I really want to just summarize what we kind of talked about in terms of the challenges. It sounds like it boils down to 2 points. One, security, and two, handling of that data, right? So again, I'm going to focus on that trading use case because that's the experience that I have with my customers is, to enable themselves to make these decisions to do, trading, right? They have to back test and use their models on existing data. So again, that proprietary data that they're using is very special to and unique to them. So that AI defense story is huge when you can have the capability to have a bi-directional guardrail on the communications with these AI models. So if you're having conversations like that, AI defense should definitely come up. And I wanted to take a moment to highlight what Zane mentioned with VAST. So this VAST operating system is definitely going to revolutionize storage conversation. So if you guys are hearing, customers talking about, hey, I want to, upgrade or evolve my storage deployment and architecture, I think VAST should definitely be a huge topic. The way that they can disaggregate, the way that they're going to market with their storage and share it across their entire deployment is amazing. They create this awesome user interface as well to build automatic pipelines and triggers to create enterprise RAG use cases, which is absolutely amazing. And I think it's definitely something that will vastly improve our customers. No pun intended, right? Anywho. So
yeah, I think that those are very important points you made. I think the one other thing I would add is just the need to break down silos. I mean, I think that is really kind of the model of VAST in kind of how you're, describing it. Really being able to have all of your data assets under a single platform where it's both performant and economical is really what's going to make this practical to be able to continue and invest in scale in these AI factories.
Yeah. Well, we talked about some of the challenges, so let's talk about Zeki and Sudheesh, how the EPlus partnership can enable customers to lower those barriers to entry and how that they can get around some of these challenges and how you guys can help them out.
Look, we are one of the unique partners with NVIDIA also. We are one of the 10 DGX managed service provider, one of the 8 SuperPod certified provider. And we are the only one in North America with both those distinctions. Okay. Why is that? Why are we the only one, right? It's because we started the practice early on. We started our practice in 2016 timeframe, and we have been in this forever, right? When EPlus has been investing on it, and we have been working with NVIDIA very closely. In fact, one of the first customers where we build the whole, for fraud detection, we build the whole entire stack for a large financial customer. and we started supporting their whole ML stack as well, right? So that's where we started, right? That's how we got the and we had other customers, and that's how we got the DGX Managed Service Provider certification, and that's the reason for that, right? Now, how EPlus help our customers, right? We get the customers' foundations right. Okay, first you have to, if it is an infrastructure, be a cloud, on-prem, whatever that is, right? You have to have that sort of best practices implemented and deliver the compute network and storage platform needed for this modern AI applications, right? So we are working with NVIDIA and Cisco and cloud providers to give that sort of high performance compute combined with high performance networking solutions and with high performance storage as well, right? So that's and building their AI infrastructure as a service and then offering them entire end-to-end support for that. That's one area, right? Second, we also support customers with their data and observability, right? Like I said earlier, all these disaggregated data, we bring it together, clean it, make sure it is secure, and they can consume it for AI, okay, with full stack observability. Like you have excellent solutions like Splunk ITSI and all that to provide that AI ops layer, right? And Thousand Eyes, AppD, it's entire stack is pretty powerful when you combine all the solution together, right? The third is we also strengthen their security and governance, right? They cannot adopt AI, the financial customers especially, without strong security controls, right? From not just one layer, it has to be from end to end. Think about data security, think about infrastructure security, think about application security, right? And think about AI application security, right? So you have to have the end-to-end security built. And this is where we come in. We have advisory practice, consulting practice. We have various workshops for data readiness and all the other areas, use case identification as well. We then design the solution, we build it, we also support it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sudheesh. Really appreciate hearing what you guys at EPlus, have to offer customers to help navigate around those challenges. And I think what's going to be really useful for our customers to hear is those advisory services and the validated design guides so that the network guys don't get blamed for the software engineers' bugs, right? I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but software engineers love to blame the network when anything goes wrong. So they can rest assured that with the Cisco and EPlus partnership that they can enable their AI outcomes. But Zeki, I wanted to transition into almost our closing with a fun little segment that we have with our two facts or two statements and a hot take. So you can state them and I'll have to guess which one's a hot take.
Yeah,
Okay,
by the way,
but before I do that, I want to do one last plug.
Yes.
EPlus, we have a world-class AI experience center, which has all of these technologies that we've been talking about today that is ready to demo and is kind of the basis of a lot of the workshops that we're delivering. So we're not just talking about like PowerPoints here. I mean, we're actually being able to really demonstrate a lot of these technologies, and it's just a really tremendous resource. But moving on to the statements and the hot take. So I think the first statement is there's more and more AI use cases that are surfacing every day. So there's more opportunities to be able to leverage this technology. Next statement is EPlus and Cisco, we make secure AI factories simpler to deploy and manage. And then the last thing I'm going to touch on is the best AI is the AI that you really don't think about, but you can't live without it. So, think about it in the same vein as electricity. It's there, but if it wasn't there, we would all be freaking out.
Well, I think I'm going to go from the reverse and say that last statement that you had was the hot take. It's a little bit scary to kind of think about AI that you don't think about. I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's the hot take, and that the other two are definite statements that Cisco and EPlus together can build the secure AI factories for our customers. And obviously there's more AI use cases that are servicing it every day. So how did I do, Zeki? 3 for
I
3.
think you nailed it.
Yeah, by the way, yeah, team, this is off the cuff. There's no scripting here, so I want to give Jake here some kudos, kind of nailing it because we did not script it for the record.
Thanks, Zane. And speaking of going without a script, I have my own hot take. This is the own Jake spin on this segment. I just want to share my hot take. And my hot take is that the future is not large language models, but small language models. And the reason I bring that up is it's very timely, right? We live in this age of agent to agent conversations where, there may be a catch-all large reasoning model that's going to be the brains behind, someone's generative AI application. But these fine-tuned, specifically trained models, I think are the future. And the reason I bring this up is because Cisco just announced an intent to acquire a new enterprise AI platform startup called Neural Fabric. And what they do is they enable a platform for those domain-specific models for small language and fine-tuned models. And it's just something that I think is really exciting. And it's an announcement that I wanted to share with the audience because our foundation AI team here at Cisco is going to continue to put out more and more models within this space. But I'll hand it over to Zane to go.
Yeah, just to kind of add on to that, like when we look at our deep network model that was released, right, as part of AI Canvas, that's really the heart of it is accurate AI LLMs built within it. So whatever you're kind of prompting it is accurate because we know as you guys have kind of seen, whether I prompt Gemini or Llama or what have you, not every response is the same, right? So we want to really double down on the accuracy. And to Jake's point, it's a huge game changer. So again, team, first of all, as we kind of wrap, I wanted to first thank you for your time. And we covered a lot. We talked about governance. We talked about some compliance issues. What is the value of going from cloud to on-prem and some of the cost savings, candidly, that we're seeing from customers. So as we kind of wrap, Zeki and Sudheesh, I'll throw it to you guys. Any key takeaways? And again, you're talking to 500 plus SEs, both locally within Cisco, like Jake and I, but also across the channel ecosystem. But we'd love to turn it over to you, Zeki, first, and would love to see if you have any key takeaways from today's conversation.
So, I mean, everything is changing so fast and not everybody can know everything. So really these partnerships and collaborations are becoming more and more important. And we definitely appreciate, really kind of the power of EPlus and Cisco to be able to help these initiatives accelerate and go smoother.
So financial institutions wants to absolutely adopt AI, right? And the real value is happening today in areas like fraud detection, branch modernization, improving customer experience, and improving their overall operational efficiency. So that is the key takeaway from my point is how we can help customers like EPlus and Cisco together can help customers solve these challenges and get to where they need to get to and get the outcomes, what they're looking for in a simpler way and efficient way, right? And securing all that pieces together is a key point that I want to bring.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sudheesh. I wanted to make one more touch on a topic I brought up a little bit earlier in terms of those small language models. Cisco Foundation AI, for those of you that don't know, this is my one takeaway for you guys. One, tidbit. Cisco Talos was our security organization, the largest non-governmental threat intelligence organization in the world. Cisco Foundation is akin to that, where we have a dedicated team that's going to build the infrastructure that's driving the next generation of cybersecurity innovations. And we released a small language model based off of Llama 3.1 called the Foundation Security Model. It's 8 billion parameters. It's there to augment security, cybersecurity professionals. It's trained on specific data to help with, OWASP principles, the monitor and attack framework, and so forth. But that's just an example of what's to come. We're at a point within Cisco that I don't think we've ever seen before. Right. And without, the great partnership that we have with, our channel partners like EPlus, we wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. So it's very, very exciting times ahead. And I'm really excited to continue furthering these conversations. So
yeah, to Jake's point, it's a great time to be in technology, a great time, to be at Cisco and partner with you all. So again, really, really appreciate it. It was a great conversation. I hope the audience is as excited as we are because I think we unpacked a lot today. And there's really more to come. So again, I am your host, Zain Mirza. Thank you for joining us. And stay tuned for our next episode where we bring in Sentinel as well, and keep the AI conversation going. But again, thank you all. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.